we got a bad review on eBay, and I'd like to go over why. First things, before the gentleman did leave the bad review, he did give us a chance. There it is. So he reached out to us on October 2nd. Here's the first thing that is very important. This item sold on August 24th. So he reached out, a month and a half later. One, we do consignments for those who don't know. So when it comes to consignments, we sell the card for somebody and then we pay out the payout to that person. So coming to us a month and a half after the item sold is already going to be a problem. And he explains why, which is not a good excuse. He says, "Hi there. I've only just received this card. I have to save my mail up and ship it back to myself in the UK periodically, so there's a bit of a delay." Understandable, but also not a good enough excuse. Got to say, I'm pretty disappointed with this card. The listing describes as near mint or better, but the back of this card is clearly damaged and worse than the listing photos, which I'm only inspecting now closely given the near mint or better description show. It wasn't damaged in transit. It was well packaged at all stages. To me, this materially affects the value. Before I leave bad feedback, I wondered if there was anything you were willing to do. Shipping it back for a return internationally at my own cost isn't really viable, which it's like, well, if you want to buy cards internationally, you got to get them quicker, or else don't buy cards internationally, for one. But already I had suspicions of what I was dealing with the fact that, they bought the card and now when they have it say, I don't want to ship it back, but I want you to do something for me. We'll come back to that. But first things first, unless a card is like noticeably, like museum cards, if you've collected any Topps Museum, where almost always the corners or edges has a little bit of wear, I will switch it to the next one down, which still says excellent. And I'm sure that if we even put excellent on this card, the guy still would have said, hey, this card is not in excellent condition. So I don't really mess around with that one too much. And here's the reason why. Near mint or better description. Let's look at that and why it's a problem. So near mint or better, which means at the low end, it means near mint, which is a PSA 7. If any of us here have ever had a PSA 7, you know that those cards are pretty, not in great condition. This specific card is clearly better than a PSA 7, or I guess you could say at least a PSA 7. Pretty much anything that's pack fresh and modern that doesn't have clear like bends or like deep gashes in the card are near mint or better, right? And that's why, for one, if you are new to bidding on cards on eBay, one, don't go off of that and think near mint or better means that it's a gem 10. That is not what that means at all. Or else it would say gem 10 or better. But, PSA 7, of course, being near mint to mint is a PSA 8, mint PSA 9, and then, of course, gem mint being PSA 10. So we know what near mint or better means, right? So my response to this person was, it is not worse than the listing photos. The listing photos show the card's condition exactly as the picture you sent. The marks you are referring to are very obvious in the pictures that we posted with the listing. If you feel you want to leave bad feedback over not looking at the pictures, that's your choice, but definitely not the correct thing. We take awesome, clean pictures clearly showing the conditions of the cards we sell, unlike most sellers on eBay, or I should say unlike most consigners on eBay that don't even take the cards out of the top loaders, right? If you've ever bought from one of those bigger consigners, and there's a dozen plus of them, they're usually scanned pictures of the cards, and a lot of times it's scanned pictures of the cards in either still the sleeve or the top loader. You can't trust the condition based off the pictures from those cards at all. And I get it. Those big consigners are listing thousands and thousands of cards. They got to be quick. But that is the one big thing with us. If you've ever purchased a card from us, you know we take very detailed pictures. At the end of the day, they're pictures, right? If you want to know for 100% certainty what the condition of the card is, you got to buy it in person. On eBay, you should know that you're never going to know for 100% fact. But what I try to do is give as good as possible pictures of the conditions of the card, right? And that's where the biggest problem with this situation is for me. Let's hop over to that listing. All right, so here's that listing. Let's hop into the pictures because that's, of course, that's what his complaint was. So, as you're about to see, the quality of pictures that we do take. We go through all the corners. And there. So this was what he was complaining about. As you can see, there is a little bit of ink, which the ink part doesn't really bother me. Ink is so easy to clean off of the back. If you've ever even tried, you just get a cotton swab and a little bit of rubbing alcohol, it comes right off. Now, if you're doing that on the front, stay very far away from the auto because it will wipe the auto right off. But on the back, you can take that off. But as you can see, right there under the F, there is a little bit what looks like to be a nail print. Probably Holiday's nail print. How nice. You know, sometimes the players, when they're grabbing the cards, they might leave a little bit of a nail print. That's what his big concern is. Now, here's the thing. 100%, that's not great. It's definitely not going to get a 10. Honestly, it's not going to get a 9. It's for sure going to get an 8 or a 7. This card doesn't get a 6 with just that little nail print there, which of course I've got it blown up so it looks a lot bigger there. But here's the most important thing. The picture, which he tried to say, did not, clearly shows the condition of the card. Now, I understand and I feel his pain because I too have done that before where I'm kind of just going through bidding on cards quickly, right? And I bid on a card and I don't look at all the pictures. And then the card gets in and you see a ding in the edge or something like that, right? My thing that I always do is if I see something that's enough to be like, why was I not made aware? But then what I do first is I go look at the listing and I go look at the pictures. And almost always I'll be like, yeah, you can see it there in the picture. There's been a few times where you can't. And on those ones, I've reached out to the seller before and been like, hey, you either got to 1, show the picture cleanly of that, or 2, put it in the description. And I don't even love the description thing. Some people have told me before, like, oh, you got to put it in the description. How many of us actually go and read the description of the cards that we're bidding on? Some probably, most not. Also, most consigners don't even put a description. It has their consignment details in the description, which is interesting. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is, well, there you are. There's the very obvious thing that he's talking about. And now he wants us to give him money back while he gets to keep the card, because it wouldn't make sense for him to ship it back to us. But we take just very clean pictures of the cards. There is no question to the condition, as you can see in this listing, right? And so that's like, for me, strike 1, why'd you take a month and a half? Strike 2, why didn't you look at the pictures? Strike 3, don't be an idiot. Be a big boy. Like we all are sometimes. We bid on cards. We don't look at all the pictures. It gets in. Maybe it's not the condition we like. We go look at the pictures. We're like, ooh, yeah, they did show me that. Nothing I can do about it. My fault. So he did follow through with his promise, which was to leave us a bad review. There it is. Card was listed as near mint, but arrived quite heavily damaged on reverse. Seller uninterested and said photos showed the damage despite the listing description and no other explicit mention of the damage. Buyers beware. This one is out to con you. But it's like, what? The pictures. It showed it as good as it possibly could. If we were like other consigners where we did not take clear pictures of the card and it did not show it, 100%, we would be in the wrong. I would need to go and refund this person. But we take that extra time to take those clean pictures, those extra pictures showing surface of the front, surface of the back, and all 4 corners of the front and back. That way, buyers can make as educated of a decision as possible when it comes to bidding on our cards. And because of that, our cards do sell very well. So 1, if you're ever interested in consigning, we'd be happy to help you with that. If you've tried consigning before with one of those bigger ones and were disappointed with how your card sold, 100%, that's why, because of the awful pictures. Ultimately, I did not give this person a refund. I didn't give him anything because I said, no, the pictures showed the damage. It is near mint, and sorry. So it wasn't too hard to find him. So, I just hopped in, pulled up one of his videos. Needless to say, he was not happy with this box. He wasn't happy with the box at all, which doesn't surprise me. He's not a very happy gentleman. Also, I was convinced I was dealing with someone maybe like early or late teens, early 20s, like childish. He's a grown-ass man. He is a grown gentleman. All right? And it's probably just me being petty. But I didn't want to be rude or anything. So just glad I found you. Glad, which he, of course. Am I supposed to interpret this as some sort of threat for giving you bad feedback you asked for on eBay? No, I didn't ask for bad feedback. I just said, a child's going to do what a child's going to do. And he did, as I expected him to. But at the end of the day, people are unhappy. People are going to make bad decisions, and I wouldn't even say bad decisions, just lazy decisions, to not look at the pictures that the eBay seller worked hard to take very nice, clean ones for. So that way you don't have to be questioning or wondering, what is the condition of this card that I'm bidding on? And so, yeah, at the end of the day, I understand. No matter what you do, there's going to be unhappy people. But I figured I'd bring this one to your attention. One, to help educate some of those that are maybe new to bidding on cards on eBay, understand what near mint means, right? It doesn't mean gem 10, it means near mint. Also, if there are pictures and you are the type of person who's going to be upset if the card doesn't come in and is perfect because you don't know what near mint means, then just go look at all the pictures. That's what I would recommend. And then at the end of the day, if the card really doesn't match the condition description and the pictures don't clearly show that, well, then feel free to reach out to the seller and ask for something. And if they are a good seller, then they will do something about it. But if you are a good seller, don't cave in to these people on eBay. They are all over the place looking for freebies, and they'll always wait till after the card, or this guy, they'll wait a month and a half until after they get the card. But yeah, if you screw up and you do something wrong as a seller, make it right. But if it's a buyer that's just clearly being entitled and trying to clearly con you and get money out of you after they've already gotten the card and threatening you with a bad review, then guess what? At the end of the day, take the bad review and feel confident in yourself, because you can be like us, where at this guy's review, maybe it costs us a bidder here or there, but the bidders that it will cost us, I'm okay with, because they're probably bidders just like him. Because you go to our reviews, we do have one negative review in the last 6 months, which is his, and then 3 in the past 12 months, which are complaining about our shipping costs, which are regular. The buyer was upset that we didn't offer the $1, the eBay standard shipping, and I said, we don't ship that way. If you've ever bought a card off of us, you know that we double-side cardboard, bubble wrap that cardboard, and then put it into a bubble mailer. And then if you spend over $100, it's for sure going to get boxed. And there's a reason why we have 409 accurate 5-star descriptions, 537 5-star shipping speed, 544 on communication, and 402 on reasonable shipping costs. And if you go through, all you're going to see all day long is people who are very, very happy with our packaging. Oh, look at that. There's someone with the picture of the cardboard and bubble wrap. So I'll make sure to attach this person's handle, eBay handle, because if you like to block, I'm the same way. If I see people post videos like this on bad buyers and leaving bad reviews for no reason, I like to block those people, and I'm sure you're probably similar that way. So if you're like me, I'll make sure to drop his actual eBay handle, so that way you can keep him from bidding on your items, because he deserves the free publicity. And if you want to let him know, either one, your support, and let him know how much you would like to stick with him, you can do that. Or if you'd like to let him know how much you don't like that, you can do that too. Or you can do absolutely nothing. I'm sure I'm going to have people who say it's petty. I'm sure I'm going to have people who say thank you. I'm going to have people that say you're in the wrong. And that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I love you all, no matter which side you're on. Peace.